if you're getting started right now for the first time in e-commerce, then the path of least resistance is probably dropshipping, because you can bypass the need to buy inventory up front, you can bypass the need to store it, you can bypass the need to have to deal with shipping and logistics. These are things that are all handled by other people. You don't actually buy the product until it's actually been sold. You're listening to The Growth Booth, the show focused on achieving lifestyle freedom through online businesses. Whether you're looking for step-by-step strategies to start building an online business, simple game plans to grow your business, or proven lifestyle freedom frameworks, you are in the right place. Stay tuned and be sure to join the thousands of listeners already in growth mode. Aidan Booth here. Welcome to episode number 33 of The Growth Booth, where today we're talking about dropshipping. Now, I've got a pretty long personal history with dropshipping, having sold pretty much everything you can imagine. I think the first product I ever sold was a pregnancy pillow. We've also sold bird cages, train horns, pitching machines, barber chairs, and everything else that you can imagine in between. If you've been tuning into the show, you'll know that on episode number 30, we spoke to Yelmar, who is one of our students who has built a business that does hundreds of thousands of dollars per week selling sewing accessories. So, you can sell almost anything drop shipping, but as always, there's an easy way to do it and there's a hard way to do it. There are tools that are going to make your life easier, and there are tools that are going to potentially even derail your progress. So what I've done, or what I thought we could do in this episode, was have a chat about dropshipping, debunk a few of the myths, and point you in the right direction for how to start building a dropshipping business in 2022 and beyond. And this is the first of a two-part sequence that we're going to be doing, a two-part series around dropshipping and how to make hundreds of thousands of dollars from a dropshipping business. And I'm going to be joined in both of these episodes by a good friend and long-term business associate who now happens to be the CEO of Cartzy. Now, Cartzy is the e-commerce platform that we recommend everyone uses to build a dropshipping business. And oh, by the way, it's something that we own, and we can make sure that we look after you if you want to build a dropshipping business. So that person is Mark Chaney. Mark, thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be able to show up.
So you've got quite a history with e-commerce, having sold as a private label seller, having sold lots of things on eBay, and now obviously involved in the trenches every single day, helping with Cartzy and that project. So I thought no better person to have along here to share a little bit more about dropshipping, fill in a few of the gaps that some of our audience may have. And interestingly enough, dropshipping is probably the number one topic that we receive questions about from people looking to build an online business. So maybe we could start out just by sharing, what is dropshipping?
Things seem, I think, so obvious to us. We live in this space, but I get asked that very simple question so often. And to boil it down, dropshipping is just, a simplified kind of way of selling products online, right? E-commerce. And the biggest benefit is that you don't have to have any of the inventory yourself. So you don't have to have a garage full of inventory like my wife does. What you're doing is you're essentially taking products that another seller or distributor supplier has. You take their photos and listing information and put it on your store. And as soon as you sell it, market it for sale and sell it, then you notify the supplier and they ship it to your customer, John Doe, and wherever, and they handle all of the shipping and all of that, and you get paid essentially as a middleman.
So what's the alternative to dropshipping? Having just given an example of what dropshipping is, what is the alternative form of e-commerce then that's not dropshipping?
A lot. Probably a lot of different niches, but the way it would set up if you really wanted to get involved in e-commerce, the most simplistic look at it is you're taking you know, a thing. Here's a remote control, and you take a physical product and you're going to sell that on your store and ship it to someone. So what would be involved is I would need to acquire 100 units of this product. So there would be initial capital outlay. You have to buy it. You have to ship it to a warehouse. You have to store it. You'll have to touch it when you ship it. There are a lot of aspects of traditional e-commerce that are cut out of the equation when you do drop shipping.
So I guess to really hammer home the big difference there is drop shipping means you don't hold any inventory and you can sell other people's products. If it's not drop shipping though, then you might end up with a garage full or a warehouse full of your products and you'll ship them out once they've been sold. So in that case, you would also be buying inventory in advance. You mentioned a moment ago that your wife has a garage full of stuff. Like what's the deal there?
Well, you had mentioned earlier, and some of my history. My wife is a really big eBay seller and has been for 18 years or so. It started as a hobby. She would garage sale and find unique little things that people were getting rid of, and so she's a reseller. So she collects inventory. Someone like me that does drop shipping, all I need is a laptop and an internet connection. And that's the difference. So I keep trying to sway her over to my side, but she does get satisfaction of going shopping on Saturday mornings at garage sales. So and in the meantime,
you've got a garage full of weird and unusual products, probably.
Yeah, so I park out on the driveway instead of nestled nicely in the garage. But it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of ways that you can sell using e-commerce, and what we do at Cartzy is really we make it easy to sell in any kind of e-commerce. So if you do have your own garage full of your own products, or if you've got your own brand of products and they're sitting in a warehouse somewhere, it doesn't really matter for what we're doing with Cartzy. You can sell any of those types of products. It just so happens that I think if you're getting started right now for the first time in e-commerce, then the path of least resistance is probably dropshipping, because you can bypass the need to buy inventory up front. You can bypass the need to store it. You can bypass the need to have to deal with shipping and logistics. These are things that are all handled by other people. You don't actually buy the product until it's actually been sold. So I think if you start to think about some of those things, then some of the pros of dropshipping really become quite obvious. I can't really think of many cons to dropshipping, many downsides to dropshipping. Any that come to mind from your perspective there, Mark?
Probably the single largest one, but all of these cons, in my opinion, can be overcome. Right? If you know what they are and you know which direction to kind of take it to overcome it. A lot of people say that, the profit margin is very narrow in drop shipping. And to that I'd say, well, where we see most of the problem with that is people are trying to sell $15 items. I say that when you look for products, certain products, and they are out there, that you can really find ones. I think people shy away from trying to sell maybe a $200, $300, $400 item, but there are customers out there for $200, $300, $400 items. And the greatest benefit, again, of drop shipping is you can sell those items and not have to pay for the capital expense up front of acquiring, a pallet full of inventory. So I think most people that start early on with dropshipping kind of get into that little narrow vision start, and they look at those lower priced items. And I don't care what business you're in or what industry you're in. If you're selling something for $15, there's just not a lot of money to be made there. So I think kind of exploring outside of that will give you some great benefit, and that's what dropshipping is all about.
I think on a personal level, when we are looking to add new products to our dropshipping sites, we don't really want to be selling something unless it's got at least a $10 or $15 margin built into it. So if you sort of reverse engineer that probably means that you're selling in the $30, $40, $50 plus range, and I think that would be a good recommendation for folks that do get started with dropshipping. Coming back to your point about selling higher priced items, I gave a bunch of examples at the start of some of the types of products that I've sold on my different stores over the years, including things like pregnancy pillows, train horns, bird cages. But the one that really came to mind just now when you spoke about that were the barber chairs. Not only were these things like $400, $500 each, they also weighed about half a ton each, literally. Yeah. So they definitely were not your textbook, lightweight products. But I think it just goes to show that you don't need, lightweight products. Another product that was also at the more expensive range, which I sold a lot of many years ago, were welding machines. And these things are heavy, and some of them sell for a couple of $1,000s. And through dropshipping, I was able to sell big brand welding machines. Now, if I wanted to go out there and build my own business around my own welding machine, that would potentially be quite difficult because, I would probably need some expertise. I would need to figure out how to put these things together and, assemble them, manufacture them in the first place, which could be done. But there would be a lot more complexity in that. And here I was with a really good store that sold a lot of welding machines. And I was able to piggyback on all of these big brands. So every single big brand welding machine in the United States was in my store. And it was something that I could set up in just a matter of weeks. So, I think that's pretty hard to beat with any other form of e-commerce. So a couple more thoughts there. I guess one of the other, if I really had to try to dig out, a negative of dropshipping is oftentimes you are selling other people's brands as opposed to building your own brand. However, right. I think the website in itself can become its own brand, and there's a lot of value in that. You're really building up an asset, and it could be, markswarehouse.com or markssuperstore.com, and that can turn into a thing of real value. So, for some people who do want to have their own personal name on their products, that might be a downside.
Yeah, just think of like Foot Locker is a shoe store, right? They sell Adidas and Nike and Reebok, right? That's all they do is promote other brands. Yet Foot Locker itself is a brand, and that's exactly what you're saying, and that's exactly what you can create, through dropshipping. So yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the ways or things that people would have to consider when building a dropship business. So obviously you're going to need a platform, and we can talk about some of the types of things that Cartzy does and help people with there. But what about finding products? So how do you go about finding a product? What should you look for? Like, what's a textbook product? We've said that, the rules are made to be broken and you can sell big, heavy, expensive products and so forth. But for someone getting started out, how would they find a product, and what should they look for in a product?
Well, it's kind of a two-path two different answers I could give, right? There's a traditional way, and then there's a way that we do it with Cartzy, right? Shameless plug. So I'll kind of start by describing things that you would do traditionally, and I kind of mentioned or alluded to them earlier, where you could go and find products. You could literally just go onto just about any website, eBay, Walmart, Amazon, just some of the major ones, layups, right? Target, any of the big brand names. You could also go to, a lot of the smaller players. And doing something like this would be kind of a retail play, right? Now, most of these websites, especially Amazon, Walmart, and eBay, they're really comprised of individual sellers. So if you were able to identify a product there that fits your model, your business model, and we can touch on that for a second. The nice thing about dropshipping is you can start a whole store in, let's say you're a camping enthusiast, right? You can start a whole camping store, right? And fill it full of camping products, basically with the flip of a switch. So if that were the case, then you could find these types of items on one of these platforms like Amazon, etc., and take those products and when you find a seller or a product that's selling well, you might even be able to go back and approach a seller to negotiate some coupons or a little bit better pricing. But that's kind of that retail strategy, is to go out and find products that fit that model. Another way would be probably a little more advanced, but another way would be to go out and find actual suppliers that have products that kind of fit in line with what you want. Again, if we go along with that camping explanation. So, there are a ton of suppliers out there that have products in that niche that you can set up business with them. Some of them even have drop shipping models, built into it. Like that's what they do and that's what they accept. So, that's kind of how you would go finding that. As opposed to answer your question about, what does the perfect product look like? I don't care about the weight. I don't care about the size, and those types of things, which we would definitely care about if we were warehousing them. Right? Those are the type of attributes that we care about. When you were listing some of the ideas or products you had sold, the barber chair. I got one store sells kayaks. I mean, they're huge, right? But they don't care. They don't have to. They don't have to pick it up. They don't have to wrap it or ship it or touch it. It doesn't matter.
This episode is brought to you by Cartzy. Cartzy is an all-in-one e-commerce shopping platform that can help you build an e-commerce business in record time. It provides you with all the bells and whistles that you need to get started selling your own products online, and it's incredibly easy to use, built for newbies who want to grow an online business without all the hassles and headaches that come with other shopping platforms. If you'd like to learn more about Cartzy and take advantage of a special offer that we've set up, and I can do that because I'm actually the owner of Cartzy, then head over to thegrowthbooth.com/Cartzy. That's spelled CARTZY. That's thegrowthbooth.com/Cartzy, and get more information about how we can help you build an e-commerce business and how you can unlock the power of Cartzy today. Now back over to the episode. What ultimately matters is the bottom line, and if you can sell $1,000 kayak and it's huge and it's got $200 shipping on it or something, but you're getting a couple $100 potentially of profit on each sale, then that's all that really matters. You've got the sell price, you've got the expenses, and you've got the profit that you're left with. So I guess it's making sure from the get-go that you are going to get enough profit. And another thing, I guess you mentioned the different types of models and different types of ways you can sell. That's really important, and in the next episode of The Growth Booth next week, we're going to be really doubling down on the Facebook Marketplace. But there are ways that you can get free traffic, and then there are obviously lots of ways that you can buy traffic using Google Ads, Facebook, Microsoft, and so on and so forth. And if part of your strategy is paid ads, then you also need to make sure that you've got enough profit margin in each product to be able to cover the cost of that. There are a few different variables, I guess, and it does vary as well depending on the model that you were using. You mentioned a little bit about a retail model, like being able to leverage likes of eBay and Amazon and Walmart as suppliers or sources of product. And you started to mention, I guess, the wholesale model. When I was getting started with e-commerce and I had these different stores that were specializing on one product or one type of products, like barber chairs, for example, I did the niche research to begin with. I made sure there was enough people searching for these products, enough demand out there. And then I manually reached out to different manufacturers or distributors of these barber chairs. So that would involve doing a Google search to find out who they were, picking up the phone and calling them or sending them emails and getting in touch with them that way. So that was another way that, in the past we've oftentimes found suppliers.
Yeah, you can definitely roll up your sleeves and, do the work, right? And at the end of the day, you're building a business. So
there's an easier way that you can do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that easy way really is to utilize the power of Cartzy, right? So you would Basically, there's a tool inside of Cartzy called Profit Spy. And what Profit Spy is all about is we have it linked to an enormous database of products, millions of products. And they're all safe products, meaning that they've been removed from restricted categories like firearms or alcohol and things like this. So all you see are really good, usable products. And what you do is you browse through it, just like you would be shopping on Walmart or something along those lines. You could filter and do different searches, find products that kind of match along with or meet kind of your requirements. Again, going back to the camping example, if you wanted to add camping type of products in there, you would just click a few buttons and it will pull all of the images from the supplier. It'll pull the description, pricing, all of the critical information that you need, and it sucks it right into your product database on Cartzy. From there, then you're ready to post it out for sale in a marketplace of your choosing. So yeah, that is definitely the easy version.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we can shamelessly give a plug there for Cartzy, which obviously we're pretty passionate about. But the thing that, on a serious note, the thing that I really do like about Profit Spy, well, a couple of things. One is that it serves up completely random products. So some of the very best products that I've sold over the years have been products that I probably couldn't have really got to unless I just sort of stumbled upon them, if you like. And that's exactly what Profit Spy allows you to do, because you can browse through randomly millions and millions and millions of products. So, a lot of people in the e-commerce space have traditionally gravitated to similar types of products. Like I'm going to sell something related to fitness, and they will gravitate to those silicone drink bottles. Or I'm going to sell something related to golf or, cooking, and they gravitate to salad spinners or whatever the product is. And Profit Spy absolutely eliminates any risk of that, because you are served up with, literally, you can browse through millions and millions and millions of products. And you can also do it very, very quickly by using different filters. So traditionally, the way that you would identify a product is you'd come up with ideas for a product, however you did that. You'd see what you could buy it for, and then you'd have to work out, what's your shipping, where's the supplier, and ultimately what is your profit going to be. And that's something that could take you a couple of minutes if you're really speedy, or it could take 15 or 20 minutes, depending on how hard it was to get that information. But Cartzy and the Profit Spy tool serves it up to you in just a couple of seconds. So I think it's an absolute game changer for that. And I also love the fact that it does serve those metrics up, because it allows you to see at a glance, literally at a glance, whether or not something is going to be profitable or not, and you can move on to the next. And then thirdly, the other thing that's really, really easy with Profit Spy, because it's built into Cartzy, is that if you find a product that you want to sell on your store, at the push of a button, that product can be listed in your store. So it really does streamline from finding products, which is fun, to seeing the type of profit that they can get, and then ultimately getting that product on your store and then being 100% ready to sell. So I'm sure I missed a few bits and pieces there, but it's something that's really, really cool. And if you want to test that functionality out for yourself, you can actually test it out for free. You can go to thegrowthbooth.com/Cartzy. There's a free trial. Even if you don't end up using Cartzy ultimately and you just want to play around with that tool, there's a free trial that you could use. And I can almost guarantee that you're going to be able to find some really amazing products there. In fact, we were looking over some numbers recently, and we've got thousands and thousands of people who use Cartzy now, thousands of active stores up, and those thousands of people have sold literally hundreds of thousands of different products, uniquely different products that they've sourced through Profit Spy. So pretty exciting stuff there anyway.
Yeah, there is. I just recently looked at those numbers too, and it never stops astonishing me how many different types of products there are out there and available, right? I think, again, back to my earlier thing, I think people kind of get in this narrow scope, but when you really take a step back and you start doing some searches, my goodness, the amount of types of products that are out there. And I'll tell you this, they sell, right?
Yeah.
I mean, products sell. You could think of the weirdest gasket for a boat engine. It sells. People need it. So,
a few episodes ago, in episode number 30, and I mentioned this earlier, I interviewed Yelmar, one of my students, and he's built a business that does multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars per week selling sewing accessories. And he shared a little bit about his niche and so forth on that interview. So if you want to check that out, then head over to episode number 30 of The Growth Booth. Getting back to what we're talking about here, dropshipping, we've given people an idea about some of the important things to look for, given people some ideas about where they might find products that they can sell. Maybe we could change up a little bit here and talk about what to look for in a store platform, some of the things that have been the most important features, perhaps, of Cartzy, and whether you use Cartzy or not, just some ideas for people to think about when they are building out a dropship store. What does the store absolutely need to have to make sure that they're making as much money as they can from their visitors?
Right. Probably there's a healthy list of needs that you would look for in an e-commerce store. So I mean, if you think about it, at its very core, right? What is an e-commerce shopping platform, right? Probably the biggest thing is the ability to collect money and payments and do all that in an automated way. I mean, they really are used. The term used is as a shopping cart, right? And the shopping cart is tied to a payment processor. Now, from there, you're probably going to want to look for, certain automations that are important. So, again, just like we shamelessly talked about Profit Spy, but the process of almost automating the whole process of getting products into your store. I mean, this used to take us, and I've been doing drop shipping and e-commerce and wholesaling and all kinds of things for decades. So I can speak to the effect of, it was almost like the stone tablet days, right? It was a lot of hours put in putting these products into our store and doing the processes manually. So
there were definitely no digital, just to interrupt your flow there a little bit, there were definitely no digital tablets when you started selling. I'm pretty sure Steve Jobs, I don't know if he made the first tablet, but that didn't exist 15 or so years ago. So
yeah, exactly. We didn't have a lot of automation, but it's really nice now. So, if you think about the process of an e-commerce business from start to finish, like I was alluding to, bringing in products, automating those processes, because you have to think, your most valuable commodity that you as an individual have access to is your time, right? So if you can be more efficient in your processes, then you can either sell more or maybe spend more time with your family, whatever's important to you. So automating the input of products is a critical component, right? And I know firsthand that there are a few shopping platforms out there that do it, and it amazes me to this day how many still don't do have functions that automate that process.
I think one of the big gripes that I always had with different shopping platforms that we've used, and I've used pretty much all of them, starting with WooCommerce many years ago, BigCommerce, Shopify, many others in between as well, is that many of them out of the box didn't have some of these features that you're talking about. Like, most of them enable you to be able to take payments. That's fine. That's sort of at the foundation of it all. But then talking about the seamless sort of automation and streamlining, at Shopify we were paying something like $1,200 a month for the store to sort of function with all of the automation that we needed, because we needed to add on like a dozen apps, and that's not an exaggeration. I mean, we had one app for upsells, another app for the spinning wheel to capture people's email addresses and so on, another app for doing all of these other things and follow up, and it gets expensive, and it also gets clunky because you are like cobbling a whole bunch of things together that maybe aren't designed natively to sort of work together. So, I mean, that was one of the first things that we thought about when building our own shopping cart and shopping platform was, look, you need a full suite of things that are designed to work together. I think another whole category of things to look for in a shopping cart are things that will boost conversions, because having a 1% conversion on the traffic that comes in, like 1 out of 100 people actually buy, or having a 4% conversion, 4 out of every 100 people buy, I mean, that's a huge difference, and highly likely that could be the difference between a winning store and a winning product or a winning business and one that clearly does not win. So I think a lot of the functionality around conversions is just absolutely mission critical. Do you want to share what some of the main conversion sort of related tools are that we use?
Yeah, for sure. And I'll say this kind of first leading into that, and it dovetails off of what you just said, is, it just increasing your conversion rate from 1% to 2% effectively doubles your revenue, like you said, on the same amount of traffic coming in, right? You spend all this time, energy, and effort trying to get an audience on, or your eyeballs on your product, right? And just by doing these little efficiencies. So increasing your conversion rate, and I think I have two kind of main things that you would want to focus on in an e-commerce business in this talk, is increasing your conversion rate and increasing your average order value, right? So if I can get that same audience member, that same traffic, that same person to buy, the main product that they came for, and then maybe add on another supplemental product that, they're going to need. So if I'm selling a camera, maybe they need an SD card, or, something along these types of lines. And, so average order value increase and conversion increase. Yeah. So to speak on those, some of the things you just mentioned, right? The spinning wheel, right? To capture email addresses, etc., so that we can then do some email marketing down the road. So that's something that Cartzy has built in. It's probably good to say this too before I get into some of those features, is kind of the main goal. I guess we could really ask the question, why Cartzy, right? Why did you want to build a shopping platform? What makes Cartzy better ultimately than some of the other ones? Like, why would you go head to head with Shopify, right? In this realm, and I think you really hit the nail on the head. Cartzy is all about really bringing all of the tools that you need are all baked right in, and they're not made by third-party developers, but they're all made in-house. So everything is native to Cartzy. Basically, like you said, if there's 12 apps that you would need in your WooCommerce store or your Shopify store, all of those things are built right in natively, right out of the box with Cartzy. So you don't have to pay $1,200 a month. It's just all baked in. And like I said, with it being in-house, it all works with itself because there's no third-party plugins. So that's a great benefit of Cartzy, and I think that's where Cartzy really stands out and shines in the marketplace. Its value proposition.
I think if anyone listening to this is an e-commerce seller, then and if you're not already using Cartzy, then you should just head over and check it out for yourself, because I don't think we're ever really going to do it justice on a 30-minute podcast episode. But if you do go to thegrowthbooth.com and head over to Cartzy, we'll share a link in the show notes, or you can just go to thegrowthbooth.com/Cartzy, or you can just go to Cartzy.com and you can get signed up for a free trial and see all of this stuff firsthand, and it'll become pretty apparent that you can get a store up and running, or transitioned over, I should say, from one of these other platforms if you want to,
right, really,
really easily. And if you did ever need any help with anything like that, then me and Mark and our whole team are here to help you. So I think we've covered the types of products that you could potentially sell, what to look for in a shopping cart. What about the kind of money that you can make? Any thoughts around what you've seen some of our users doing? Obviously, I've mentioned hundreds of thousands of dollars a week.
Sure.
Just wonder if you've got any thoughts or any data points really to share with people.
Well, just like anything, right? So the guy that's doing $100,000 a week, he's quite literally doing multiple $1 million of sales. And, you get everything from kind of A to Z. And I would say that, we can see some of the activity that happens in the store. It's just like anything. If you put in the work, then you'll see the results. We have a ton of stores that do 5 figures per month in sales. We have stores that do $2 a month, right? But that person logs in once every 60 days and they're not really running a business. So I think, you really have to weigh yourself with realistic expectations.
Yeah.
If you're going to use the efficiencies that we have built in and sit down and use Profits By and pull product in, if you're going to go through the motions and set things up, sky's the limit. And that's the beauty of dropshipping, because it literally costs you nothing to have a fully fleshed out, robust store in any niche that you want. So,
yeah. What if, I always try to think about the what-if question. So, what if you're not in the United States? That's clearly not applicable here, because you can sell from anywhere in the world, and if you're not in the United States, you can sell into the United States. And the reason that you might want to do that is just because there's such a huge marketplace there in general. What if you don't have the money to start? I mean, we've spoken about how one of the beauties of dropshipping is you really don't need money to start, because you're not buying inventory up front. And if you just want to sort of compare that to my private label business that I've got as well, and we sell hundreds of thousands of our own branded products every year, but guess what? There's millions of dollars in inventory every single year that we have to buy there. So if you don't have money or much money to invest, then I think dropshipping is a great way to go. And on the next episode, where Mark is going to be joining me, we'll talk about what is arguably the number one traffic source, free traffic source, which again I think ties in nicely for people who are on a very, very limited budget. So come back next week to make sure that you check that out. Any final thoughts there, Mark? Anything that you want to share with people who might be thinking about building an e-commerce business or considering different shopping platforms and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I'd say to the latter, if you're considering other shopping platforms, don't just use Cartzy.
Yeah.
But to people, I think one thing that I run into a lot too, outside of just dropshipping, people that are looking to or are in an e-commerce business, just because you have an e-commerce business, maybe you have product in your garage, or maybe you have product, or you're already doing an e-commerce business. Dropshipping is really a great way to kind of supplementally test new product ideas, right? Before you go and spend money on inventory, on kayaks, or, whatever that product may be. Because if you're going to buy 100 kayaks, you're going to get a better price point on them and make more margin. You're going to have to deal with more things we talked about. But I think dropshipping will allow you to test out maybe your audience's acceptability of that type of product. So dropshipping is a great tool or technique to use for that. So I think a lot of people kind of overlook that. They think, oh, I have to be a dropshipper, and that's all. That's how I'm going to do my business or whatever. I think that you can really kind of mash up these ideologies really well.
Yeah, I think having sold in every type of e-commerce that really exists and continue to sell in all of them, I think dropshipping is really the holy grail of e-commerce, and definitely one of my top 2 online business recommendations that I would ever give to anyone. It's either between dropshipping or a very unique type of affiliate marketing that you can do, and that can be the topic for another episode. But I think we'll wrap this one up here. So thank you for tuning in here. Make sure you do tune in next week to the next episode, which will be at the Growth Booth number 34, because we'll be diving into how you can exploit the Facebook marketplace and how you can leverage a lot of free traffic and get selling really, really fast. So that will be a great way for you to take the next steps in your e-commerce journey. We'll see you here again on the next episode of the Growth Booth.